There is something absolutely magical about Keebler Pecan Sandies. With the help of my friend Gidget, we came up with this fabulous recipe that I hope you all will enjoy. Pecan or pecan, however you call it, this is an absolutely beautiful cookie and I do recommend you try it at least once. So I'm curious, do you call them pecans or pecans? I use it interchangeably and it depends on the type of dessert. Now you want them chopped finely. If you don't have a blender or you don't want to do it by hand, you can buy them already chopped for you, or you can use this nice little nut chopper that my friend Gidget gave me. I think she got it off of Amazon. It is absolutely amazing and it wasn't that expensive, I don't think. The first step is to mix some salt and baking soda in with our flour. If you like, you can use a bigger bowl than this so you don't have to be so gentle when you're stirring, and I do recommend that because if not, you're going to make a huge mess. If any of your ingredients ever get stuck to the inside of a bowl, take the time to get them all out because a little bit could make a big difference in any recipe, especially when it comes to baking. You're going to mix this together, and I do recommend using a much larger bowl than I did because I had to be very gentle not to make a huge mess. Now in a larger bowl, this time appropriately sized, we're going to cream together some margarine or butter. Now, after looking at the recipe ingredients on the back of the bag, it does look like they're using some type of margarine. So you can use that if you like, and I actually found it's closer to the taste of the cookie, but a lot of people like to use butter today, and that's perfectly fine. You can use a mixer for this, a stand mixer or handheld mixer. I just didn't find it was necessary. I just creamed together the butter and the sugar, and then I'm going to add in the egg yolks and the vanilla all at once and just mix it until it is nice and smooth and creamy, and it will look a lot like this when you're done. At this point, you add in your flour mixture and your pecans, and you're going to stir it together until it starts to form a really nice thick dough. Now, if you noticed, I put in egg yolks instead of an entire egg into the recipe, and the reason for this is when you use an entire egg, you get a chewy cookie like a sugar cookie and not the sandy cookie. As this dough starts to come together, it really does take on a sand-like appearance. If you try to grab it, it will hold its shape like a sand castle, but if you manipulate it just a little bit, it will come apart again like sand. This is what you're looking for. That will give you the nice crisp crunch and that snap when this is finished baking. Now set this aside and get yourself a piece of cling wrap. And try not to make a mess with this. If you've seen other videos of mine, you will know that cling wrap and me do not get along. If you need to, get some help. You're going to dump this sandy mixture onto the cling wrap and you're going to start to shape it. Now, if you like, you could go ahead and just do this on the countertop and use the cling wrap later, or you could even use a plastic bag. I will leave that up to you. Scrape out every little bit of crumbs that you can because this is an absolutely delicious cookie and you're going to really enjoy it. And then you're just going to start squeezing it together until you get a rough rectangle, and it should look like this as you go. Don't worry if you see some cracks and crevices, just squeeze it back together until you get a really nice consistent shape. I'm going for about 1 3/4 inches tall. And once you get this rectangle, then you can roll it up and down until you get a circular shape. And it is very easy to do. If you find that you're struggling with this and it's starting to get too soft or greasy, you can put it into the refrigerator for about 10 minutes until you can work with it a little bit more. If your hands are really warm, you may need to chill it just slightly so that you can shape it into this log. You then want to roll it up into the saran wrap and just give it another quick roll. That way you get a really nice circular shape. I like to place it onto a baking tray and then I'm going to chill it until it's firm, at least an hour or overnight if you really want to develop those flavors. Now, if you were like me, you went ahead and you used your baking tray with parchment paper. The parchment paper helps it from spreading too much, but you can use a regular baking sheet if you like. Set that aside, and now we're going to unroll our cookie log and we're going to cut it into about 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter circle. Now you can make mark lines first and then go ahead and slice them all at once if you like, or you can eyeball it. Just try to make them as even as possible. You should get about 24 cookies from this recipe. You can also get as many as 36 depending on how thin you roll them out. And I like to place them about 2 inches apart or 5 centimeters. You can place them a little closer than that, but they will touch together, but it's not a big deal because they don't really spread all that much, about a half an inch or so. As you can see, I'm adjusting how many I'm putting on this little tiny sheet, and it will be perfectly fine when it's done. Now, these aren't perfectly circular, and if you at this point try to force it into being a circle, I will show you what happens to the cookie after it's done baking. I don't recommend this at all. It just doesn't work well. So either shape it better or just accept that it's not going to be perfectly round. If you want them perfectly round, I recommend going and getting the ones at the store. They're absolutely delicious. See the one that was baked that you tried to force into the round? It's got this lump at the top. Bake these from anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. I like them at 25 minutes, and they should snap really nice when they are completely cooled. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Visit us at jacksonsjob.com for more. And as always, happy baking.